Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Akuban Nights. So, Sami, it is day 4.
Yes.
You are working on your new spells. Can you give me another perception check, please?
Of course, I will give a perception check that I'm not suspicious about.
Why would you be suspicious?
Why would anyone be suspicious about perception checks? Well, Sami gets a 31 perception check.
Excellent. So, one of these days, you're hanging out in one of the libraries, because of course there are many libraries here. Let's move all this shit to the back so we don't have to worry about it. Back. There we go. We're gonna actually take a look at the map, and I know this doodle is sort of complicated. There's a lot of green lines here, and it's sort of a mess. You're just gonna have to use your super big brains to figure it out. It's fine. Don't worry about it. This is a sensible drawing if you look at it long enough and hard enough. I promise you. Except for this one passageway over here that's a little borked. But I will fix it. Because that one was dumb.
Okay.
There we go.
I can understand this.
Right. So over here are 2 libraries, or 2 separate rooms filled with books. And we don't need to go into the distribution of why they're 2 different rooms, but there are 2 different rooms filled with books. And as you're walking from one, picking up a book and kind of fanning through the pages and maybe like munching on an apple on the side, you notice this distinctly odd sound coming from this section of wall right here. It's just like a flat wall. There's a little dresser put underneath it with some candles and some books and some incense on it. And there's a mirror hanging above the dresser, and there's some other decorations around, because it's a nice area, and you're hearing something from the other side of this wall.
I'm hearing something. Can you be more descriptive?
It sounds like stone scraping on stone.
Is it a repetitive sound, or is it like a continual stone grindy sound?
It lasts for maybe 3 seconds and then vanishes.
And I heard it just on this wall.
Yep. Stops you dead in your tracks because it's a solid wall.
All right. Well, my first instinct is that there is someone has just opened or closed a false wall behind this one, where the stone will meet stone to create a flush finish. Does it sound literally like perpendicular to the hallway? It's just like...
What do you mean, does it sound perpendicular?
Is there... no, that's not a good description. Okay, so it's stone meeting stone beyond the wall. Right. So, to my knowledge, there's nothing behind there.
Correct.
But it seems there might be. So that... I remember a particular spell I remember reading that found doorways. I don't remember if it was within my spell level yet. Was it Wizard Lock?
So you're standing here munching on your apple, looking at this wall, sort of thinking to yourself about what's going on.
Yeah, I'm just paused, pretending to be looking down at my book. Just wait. Well, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes to see if anything else makes some noise.
Just, you hear another noise momentarily.
Sounds like wind, like a gust of something.
Yeah.
From the exact same direction.
It's coming from the wall. Yeah.
Didn't look like the wall moved at all or anything.
Nope.
What I'm going to do is I'm just gonna, like, apple in hand, book in hand. I'm gonna just lean on the wall behind me next to this like dresser.
Mm-hmm.
See it. It's just listening in and seeing if I can feel any vibrations come behind me.
Sure.
Next time there's something that comes up.
It's a long and low dresser that runs almost the length of the wall, not quite. It's maybe like a 10-foot long dresser, and the wall is maybe 15 feet. So you lean on the wall, and there's no feeling of vibrations, and in the next few minutes, there's no sounds other than one of the other wizards here, one of the other Shazaran family members who is leaving one of these studies with a few books in hands and gives you a polite nod and heads down the main hallway and turns off to one of the private room that he's in.
I just nod him on.
Yep.
I'm curious, but it's, I don't know. It doesn't seem something I should be worrying about. Just, people with secrets don't just share them all. They have like different layers upon.
It's like you've got your different passwords. Your simple password for accessing things that you're okay with anyone having. Your complicated password for the next layer and the next layer and the next layer and the next layer. Yep.
So someone seems to be doing something beyond this wall. Probably the Shazaran family.
Yeah, totally.
Probably the Shazar family. I keep saying Shazaran, meaning the Shazar people.
Right. Of or pertaining to Shazar.
Not the completely separate Shazaran family.
Well, yeah, so they should be the Shazaran.
Shazaran.
And this is the Shazar and Shazaran. So Shazaran, if pronounced properly, does mean of or pertaining to Shazar.
Yes.
Shazaranish. Shazaranin. Shazaranic? Shazaranish? Shazaranin?
The Shazarans?
The Shazaranin? I don't know.
Anyway.
They're not here.
And to my memory, that guy was just in that room.
Yeah, he was in the other room adjacent to you.
All right.
How long do you want to spend just poking around and investigating this?
For now, I'm just going to hang around. Maybe finish the chapter that I'm on. Just start reading it in depth, but
sure. So you're hanging out here, studying in sort of a common space for the first time since you've been here. When you notice that there are more people in this area than you really recognized. You haven't been getting out of your room very much, and you don't really know the people here. You just know the one person who spoke to you earlier on, and there's a cook in a kitchen area with like a table that's designed to hold large meals, but no one ever has large meals here. There's just like, someone will prepare a few meals and hand them off to people, and everyone studies separately or does their own thing, and it's sort of a, people are together, but everyone's separated and not really interacting. So sitting in this hallway or standing in this hallway, you notice that there are actually quite a few folks here, including members from other families that are not Shazaran.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first person you notice is a middle-aged woman. No, maybe middle-aged isn't quite. She's somewhere in her 40s, probably. She is a half-elf, clearly wearing the Quistari family crest over her lapel. And as she's walking in one direction, returning a stack of books, and you're standing there reading a stack of books, and she pauses as she sees you and like cocks her head to the side and gives that like, what the fuck is he doing here? And you give her the like, uh-oh, who the fuck is she? What is she doing here? Sort of cross look.
Yeah, I just give her a quizzitive look, but I just smile. Just like a pleasant nod, just to be like, yep, I'm here.
She nods in response and hurries along, and keeps going.
But yeah, these tunnels down here are like the private areas.
Yeah, right. The only way to be here is if the head of the Shazar family lets you in.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be safe, but he is also giving aid and comfort to your, at least for now, political enemies? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Questari right now?
Well, the Questari are a part of the alliance that we are not at odds with, at least. It's the Abadad Baladin and Questari group.
Mm-hmm.
They are they're like they are outside of the thingy. What am I trying to say?
Thingy? I have no idea.
There's like a strong military thing going on between Group 1 and 2. But these are like they're very much more passive, and they don't have any military backing as such.
Yeah, they're what we've been tentatively calling the Eastern Bloc, because they've got Yatel, which is in the east. I'm sorry, Yatel, Unyaka? Where the fuck are you?
Yatel, I believe.
Yatel, okay. Where's Unyaka?
Unyaka's down at the bottom, on the left?
Oh, okay. Unyaka is right next to Sandashar. I've got all my stuff fucked up here.
Oh, that's Unyaka, yes.
Yatel. My notes have this stuff orked. Okay, here we go. So this is what we're tentatively calling the Eastern Bloc, which I know has other connotations in the real world, which we're just going to ignore for now. And it is the Abadad, Baladin, and Questari family, as you mentioned before. The Abadad family is sort of the equestrian class. They have most of the horses and camels and knights, but not a lot in the way of infantry. The Baladin family oversees matters of the faith, so they have like basically no military force whatsoever. Yep. They've just got like goody two-shoe clerics who are running around being like, save the people. So they're not super useful either. And the Questari family are the half-elves. They are the rangers. They're in charge of keeping an eye on the outlands, making sure monster numbers don't get too high, sort of like mapping and wilderness understanding. They're the park rangers of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So the Eastern Bloc is the smallest and the weakest bloc around. Especially considering they only occupy Yatel. You know that the rest of your family went off to go try and steal a key to Pike's Point, for whatever reason. Anyway, so that's who the Questari person is. She is of the Ranger family of half-elves. Cool, so you ignore her, she ignores you, and as you lean against this wall, trying to finish off this chapter, but you keep getting distracted by things, as is wont to happen. You notice a few minutes later, a Tezrohan family member walks by. This is an old man. He's definitely in his 70s, maybe his 80s. He's got like this long salt and pepper beard, except the like right side is missing a fairly large chunk that is like actively or recently singed, and you can see there's just like a chunk missing from his beard. He's shuffling down the hallway, leaning on a surprisingly well-made staff that makes your eyes glitter and water, and you think, oh my god, he's got a magic staff. It has to be a magic staff. Look at it. Look how beautiful it is. And there's a crystal ball being clutched in like a griffin's claw at the very top of it. Oh my god, he's got a magic staff. Yeah. And he sort of walks by you without even noticing you or talking to you.
Does he have
grabs
a
a
book in
couple
hand?
of... no. He grabs a group of 4 scrolls from one of those library rooms, tucks them under her arm, and just heads back to his area without even acknowledging your existence.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna pretend to be like down in my book, considering he's one of the he's from the Tezrahan family, so he's the part of the group 1 of the alliances.
Yeah, the northern bloc. The Tezrahan family's in charge of like travel and ships and navy, that sort of thing. And they combine with the Dwarven Stone Song people who are in charge of commerce, and the human Gildarans who are in charge of the treasury. So they've got like finances and travel and like navy power. And they have the most territory at this point in time. They've got look at the world map for a moment here. They have
Strong bunch.
all the stuff that is easy to access by ocean. So they've got Zakit and Syro. They've got Unyaka, Aldir, and Pike's Point. At least for now. Yeah. So they've got a lot of territory, but it's all spread out and accessible pretty much only by ship right now. I guess Unyaka could be accessible by land, but these hills are a pain in the ass to travel through and everything. Yeah, that's who that is.
So, as he's walking away, I'm going to close my book, finish my apple, find somewhere to dispose of it on my way to where he just came from. In terms of where he got the scrolls from. I would like to check the surrounding scrolls to give an indication on what he is kind of reading.
The section that he is dealing with or looking at has to do with elements. You know, fire, water, earth, air, sort of stuff.
Goddamn elementalists. So I make a mental notes. Seems to be a wise spellcaster, perhaps. But he wants nothing to do with me. And even if he did recognize me, it seems he doesn't want to do anything. So, yeah. I am going to do some investigating. I would like to seek out the head librarian.
Okay, you find him. It is a man named Ferris Shazar. He's the person that was sort of dressed as a woman earlier, and is sometimes found on the upper floors, but mostly hangs out down here. It seems to have been coincidental that you ran into him when he was upstairs before. He's somewhere in his 50s or 60s. He's got one of those faces that ages really well, and you're like, damn, you're a handsome man. I can't tell if you're like 49 or 63 because you're just so damn handsome, you know? He's got that timeless, ageless
good look
face. What's his name?
He moisturizes his. So I want to pick up a conversation with him. I want to start like what was his name again? Sorry.
Ferris.
Ferris. I've been studying for quite a while. I was just a bit cooped up in here. I was kind of wondering. There's quite a lot of people knocking about here. Is there any chance there's another location I could commandeer that's a little bit more private? Perhaps one that's hidden behind a wall or something. Keep some just for privacy's sakes.
I'm afraid everyone here is exposing themselves to some level of risk. The way that we keep ourselves safe is by trusting each other, even if our enemies may be about.
I do understand, yes. I just mean if I'm dealing with something especially sensitive as maybe coming up right now.
Will your room not do?
Perhaps, but the doors are only so thin, you know. I was just wondering if you had anywhere like this available for a temporary amount of time.
Unfortunately, we have no such thing to offer you at this time. However, I do have perhaps a spell that will solve your problems for you. It's an early spell, a spell of the first circle, alteration. It's a silence spell. You cast it on an object, and that object becomes an audible insulator. You cast it upon a door, and no sounds will traverse through the door. You cast it on a cup and smash it on the ground, and the cup will not make a sound. It enchants a single item to be noiseless.
That might. Well, if I deem it necessary, I will come ask for this spell. But that's at least better than what I'm dealing with right now. But thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay. Is that an alteration spell or an abjuration spell?
I have not. Is it in the new list?
No, I'm adding it to the list right now. Abjuration, alteration. I feel like this is more of an abjuration spell. Yeah, we're gonna go with abjuration.
Yeah, I was trying to lead him into giving any more information about whether there is something behind that wall.
Nope. He's not gonna spill anything if he knows anything.
No. Fair. All right. Well, I will save my curious mind for another time, and I will return to my room, finish some studies. Then I will also spend some time in like the canteen area where people are getting meals. Just, instead of bringing food back to my room, I'll spend a little bit of time there trying to get a glance on what sort of faces are actually around, keeping my head down to my food and just
sure. So if we look at this mess of green lines, which I swear makes perfect sense.
Totally makes perfect sense. Yes.
Yeah. This I'm gonna draw in purple. Over here is like the kitchen sort of area, and there's a table in here where people can sit and eat, and like maybe the kitchen section is probably stuck off on one side like that, and people normally come in and out, and the poor lone cook in here is just working all day with no one to talk to. So you can sit at one of the tables here in the kitchen and munch on your food and do your studying and see who comes and goes. In addition to a few other members of the Shazar family here, not a lot, there's maybe like 5 or 6 of them. You're getting sort of a ballpark number. There are also a member of the Orin family and the Baladin family. Orin family is one of the unaligned factions. They're in charge of scholarly things and research and keeping information and records. And they haven't picked a side. They're staying out of it all. And the Baladin family is the family in charge of faith and magic and that sort of stuff. They are respectively in their 30s and 20s and are female and male. So it looks like there are 4 non-Shazar family members in this area, and then a whole bunch of Shazar people and you.
All right, so the non-Shazars are the Tezrahan, Baladin, Orin, and Quistari.
Yep.
Fair.
Perfect.
I'm going to finish that night in my room and recover some MP.
Okay.
Very enjoyable day.
We will pass into day 5.
It's either day 4 or 5.
5.
And I should have full mana now, because I just rolled 30.
Okay. Was there something else you wanted to do?
Well, yes. I was going to gather some information. The cook looked quite lonely, and I'm actually quite a proficient cook myself, so I would go to him a little bit early in the morning before he started prepping everything, maybe when he's actually like setting the grills on fire or something, and I'll ask him if he wants some help or if he just wants someone to talk to.
Yeah. She smiles at you with this big broad beaming, like, oh my god, someone finally to talk to. I've been, it's that elation and joy on her face. Yeah. And she hurries you over and starts asking you all sorts of things, starting with personal questions, being like, are you really Prince Sami?
Should I really be admitting that?
I suppose. I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of people here all the time, and I think I recognize you, and you look a little bit like the king, who I've met on a few occasions. I got to serve food for him once. Anyway, you look a little bit like him, and I know his son... Oh, poor... He's dead now, isn't he? Oh, how sad. Anyway, his son is a spellcaster, and you do sort of match the description and look like him. I couldn't believe it that you were here myself.
Well, perhaps I am. I was advised by the librarian to...
Did your brother really kill your father?
As I was saying, I was told not to divulge any of my
you guys
personal
killed him?
information.
Wow.
Regardless of who people think I am. And he said it was best to not even say no to questions like, oh, are you Sami? Well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I shouldn't say yes, I shouldn't say
Okay, but why would you kill your father?
I mean, philosophically, why would you kill your father?
Well, I mean, I get, he was an interesting leader and, very divisive and old and all those terrible things. And I guess if you were looking to replace him, that'd be fine. But, but Darius was gone for so long and everyone sort of thought he was a traitor. And now they think he killed his father. And it's just, so I was wondering, are you working with Drekis? Are they going to be the new rulers here? What is going on?
You have a very inquisitive mind about these sort of things. You're really up to date with the politics around here.
Well, you know what they say. Everyone talks in the kitchen at a party. And if I just work in the kitchen, I get to overhear every little bit of juicy gossip. And, because I'm lower class servant, no one ever talks to me, but you seem friendly enough, so.
Yeah, exactly. I would say so.
Oh, my God. Where are my manners? My name is Kosi. And she gives you a deep bow.
Nice to meet you. My real name I keep to myself, but my alias around here is James.
So I should call you James, then?
For now, yes.
Okay. Well, James, are you a big fan of salami?
Are we cooking salami today?
Sami, salami? Get it? No?
No. You're still on the Sami thing.
Okay, never mind. It's fine. I thought it was funny.
No, it's. I understand your humor. It's a good kitchen joke.
And then she, asks you to hand her some potatoes, and she starts peeling them and scraping them and chattering at you while working on tonight's potato stew.
In the process of this, I want to try to pick bits of information out of her regarding what she's seen of the other people staying here.
Well, this Kosi likes to talk. She is what we might call a gossip.
Exactly.
So what do you want from her?
who these people are, where they came from, why they're staying down here. Who I want to. What have the quiet people been saying? Like the
not
old
much
man.
because they're quiet. Oh, the old man. You mean Mari Tesrohan? Oh wow. He is the most quiet of them all. I do hear him talking sometimes, but it's always muttering under himself, under his breath to himself. He's never even made eye contact with me. He seems like an old fuddy-duddy, to be honest. Like, not all the sparks are coming off of the anvil, if you catch my meaning there.
Oh, yes,
he's
of
one
course,
of them
yeah.
so lost in his own works, he doesn't even realize the world's falling apart around him. My father used to have an expression, if you are so absent-minded of something that you do something stupid or get too close to something, it was if it's a snake, it would have bit you. Well, that's how I feel about Mari all the time. He's always just oblivious to whatever's going on. If this place was filled with snakes, he would have been bitten many, many times by now.
Thankfully not. Oh, terrible.
Oh god, can you imagine snakes everywhere? It'd be the worst. Anyway, that is Mari Tesrohan, one of the social outcasts of his own family.
Ooh, why? What did the rest of his family don't talk to him or about him or?
She rolls her eyes. Well, I've always been working under the assumption that he's just such a fuddy-duddy that they just ignored him because he just is always in his books. But I've also been working on this theory that he had an extramarital affair and kind of, messed up the family circle and brought some frowny faces upon everyone, and they covered it up, of course, but in the meantime, they've just sort of shipped him off somewhere else to not mess anything else up. You know how...
Yeah. It sounds really possible. But do you think he would have been capable of that with his,
Well, I think this was a while ago. He's been a fuddy-duddy for ages. I hear. That's what I hear. I mean, I've only been on this planet for 25 years myself, but,
Oh,
possible.
Same.
You? 25?
Yeah, 25.
Wow. Oh. I hear the king's daughter, the one that has a twin brother, is 25 also. How convenient.
Well, you did say I looked very much like him. You keep working on those theories.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of them. You want to know my favorite of the theories?
Okay, what's your favorite theory?
Well, Ferris Shazar? He was adopted. He's actually not born to this family. He was adopted before I was born, so I don't know when. But my favorite theory that I've developed is that he's actually Eridonian, not Akuban. Yeah. And that's because occasionally when I've heard him talking to himself and coming to get something out of the kitchen, I've heard him speak in funny accent. I think it was Eridonian. I mean, it definitely wasn't Drakissian, and he doesn't look like an elf. And maybe it was Mystrian. I don't know. I've never heard Mystrian. What does it sound like? Do you speak Mystrian?
Do I speak Mystrian?
Certainly isn't Matavian. That would be impossible.
Cuban, Eridonian, Nomish, Halfling, no. No. I've heard it a little bit, but no, I'm not a man of accents.
Well, maybe he's Mystrian then, or Eridonian, or what's that place? Gadian? That island in the far northeast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Gadian. I don't know. Anyway, my favorite theory is that he's not a Kuban. But I have nothing other than that one time to back it up with. But I'm gonna keep working on it. Believe you me.
He might be Elvish, though.
You think so?
I mean, the Elvish say is right near here.
It is, but he doesn't have pointy ears. Maybe he could have cut them. But
Maybe
if he was,
maybe he's. I don't know.
Half Elvish?
maybe he's half elvish.
So then instead of being 60, he'd be like 100 years old?
I don't know how elves work. Maybe more than that.
Oh, wow.
That's a theory. Or maybe the half elves don't follow the elvish time.
What does that mean?
Like
elves
you know, elves live far longer than humans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but maybe half elves are more human.
I guess I don't. You know, the only experience I have with a half elf is this half elf baker that lives down the street that I get the bread from, and she giggles to herself and sort of blushes.
Wasn't there a Quistari family member here?
Mm-hmm. Shavana.
Yeah, she's half elvish, right?
Mm-hmm. She is. You can't just go asking people about how they age, though.
Oh no.
That's just rude.
Did you? But she's got the pointy ears, right?
Mm-hmm. A little bit. They're long, but they don't come to a point. They sort of round out, but they're just, you know, elongated, kind of like a donkey's ears. But don't tell her I said that. That's sort of rude.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
It's more like a moose's nose on a donkey's ear, and she cracks up over her own ridiculous joke.
What is she like anyway? Does she talk a lot?
Kosi? Oh my god,
No.
she's a chatterbox. Oh, Shavana?
Shavana.
No. She doesn't. She hasn't said too much. You know, hello. Some of this, please. How are you doing? Good evening, goodbye. You know, short, quick talk. I've tried to engage her a few times, but, you know, she just kind of waves it away and goes back to her books. All you wizards are really into writing. Don't you think that maybe you should talk to each other instead of just writing papers back and forth to each other?
Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the other wizards here?
Well, there is Brandy Oren. She is 35, maybe? I don't know. To be honest, she's kind of boring. She gave me this not flattering look, you know. It's this really bad side eye this one time I tried to talk to her, and I've just shut up around her ever since. She makes me feel uncomfortable. Really. Yeah, I don't like her. And then there's Raj. He's the Baladin guy. He's nice. Maybe a little shy. He's tried to talk to me a few times, but just stumbles over his own words and stutter. I think he's got maybe a stammer or a stutter or something, because he seems really uncomfortable talking. Although, you know, he'll make hand gestures and emote on his face.
Yeah. But he seems to be like trying to talk to you at least.
Yeah, he tries, but he's just he's a bit of a dork, so, you know.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. What are you gonna do?
We're just gonna continue prepping meals, and then
Sure.
I'll say bye to her. And
Yeah, you can chat with her, and now that you're friendly, you can go back to her as needed. Okay. So it is on the 6th day here that Mr. Ferris Shazar comes to you. And he's got a question about your family history for you.
Something I probably don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have the answers he's looking for, but he doesn't know that. Where are... All right. He comes asking about the greatest of your ancestors, the one that founded your house, Falstaff the sorcerer. His question to you is, good Sami. It's been a long time since Falstaff, Harazim, walked this earth, and we have spent a lot of time researching old things, as you can imagine. I was wondering, I should say, if the Harazim family had any secret books locked away that hadn't been shared with anyone, or any tidbits of knowledge that the Falstaff that might be, hidden from the rest of us.
It's a curious question.
And before you answer, I already know quite a bit about him. Some of your family secrets, I'm sure I've already taken care of. Like, I know the true location of his crypt, not the decoy one in Sandashar. So I know much.
Well, what sort of information were you looking for?
I was hoping one of his older spell books was still available, or his research notes. They were never recovered.
He did quite a lot of his own personal research. I don't know how much of that was kept by the family, though. No, that's a
Even though we've given you such comfort and aid during your time, you have nothing to share?
Well, I would share if I could. The only documents I know about him were the ones that we donated to you in your library. If we had any more information, it is
so you're equally in the dark.
Well, I mean, it was my assumption that there weren't any further documents pertaining to this. As far as I'm aware, we have already given you all we know. But if there is a lost spellbook,
well, he was buried with his staff, I know, he says, sort of overriding and sort of rambling on his own. I know he was buried with his staff and a few of his things, but his greater books, weren't left with him. We're wondering where his greater books were.
Is this something you have been looking for yourself? Did you check the non-decoy crypt?
I've looked through the books we have here, but the real crypt, under the mountains, is a dangerous place. With the dragon flying around and the canyons near there, it's just a pain in the ass. And with the lack of water in the desert.
I would have assumed someone of your stature would have at least attempted the journey up there, possibly under the cover of invisibility.
Well, maybe, but it's so far away. It's such a journey, and I'm a man of comfort, Comfort means I would prefer not to undertake dangerous journeys through the Red Desert and into the Knuckles and looking for hidey holes in rocks. You could get eaten by a dragon that way, or you could spend decades searching and find nothing. I
thought we had put the I thought we had left a trail for the real one in some of the secrets.
Really?
In the books we gave you. I thought I read them myself one time. I could be mistaken.
He walks away mid-conversation at like a hurried pace and heads to the library and starts pulling shit. He starts pulling some books off the shelves and flipping through them, checking the margins, looking for notes or clues. And he'll spend the rest of the day searching through these books and rereading sections, and anything that looks a little bit off, like it might be a handwriting mistake, he studies intently and casts some spells about it.
Well, I've sent him on a wild goose chase while he's given me a little bit to think about there. So he let loose some information. Said through the Red Desert and then through the Knuckles up to Draken Ridge, right?
Sure, that sounds nice.
Is that what he said?
I don't know. Were you? I can't.
I mean, I could.
I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm not.
At some point.
That's fine, but I'm not gonna give you anything.
He said Red Desert, Crusty Lake, and Knuckles, I believe. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to him and revisit it. Talk to him whenever he's when he's peered away from his books in
Sure, he'll be busy for a couple of days here.
Well, I guess I am gonna start some research of my own. Maybe I'll peruse the same books as him at some point. Try and figure out if there's any information he left out. Pretending that maybe I'm helping him, but just trying to catch up with what he knows about the.
He seems to know quite a lot.
He's a spellcaster himself, right?
He's a spellcaster, and he's fairly old. You know, he's been around a while, and this is the. How do you want to say? You've seen the Indiana Jones films, yeah?
Oh yes.
So in Last Crusade, there's a bit of lore about how the Indy's father has been searching for the what do you call it, the final resting place of the cup, right? The goblet. What's it called? There's a term for it. The Holy Grail. He's been searching for the Holy Grail for so long, and yada yada. This guy has like that same sort of passion as his like side project, where for years he's been studying and trying to find the information on these long dead, lost wizards whose information never made it down through the annals of history. And that's sort of like his passion project, is researching old dead people who we might know everything about, but maybe there's a secret still about them.
So he's trying to uncover this book for research purposes, not for like keeping it to himself kind of thing, is the general idea of what he's giving.
I mean, he might keep it to himself once he finds it, but he's definitely interested in lost knowledge.
Yeah. Well, nice to know there's a crypt to go discover at some point, because we the only thing we knew was that it was in Sandashar. Nice to know there's a little bit more secret behind it.
Right. I think we're at the point of our next break, so why don't we take a break here, and when we come back, you can learn any other spells, and we can fuss about for a little while, and maybe you can create a custom spell, and we might have some more adventures. I don't know. We'll see what happens on the other side of our break. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.